It's episode 13.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's lucky.
Lucky, I was going to say. Is that, do you
13.
believe in that stuff? Or?
Not even a little bit.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that like a lot of, every time we go into an elevator, my kids go like, there's no 13th floor.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Like there actually is, but it's not like, not number 13, you know?
How are you?
Fantastic.
It's Friday.
I mean, I went from that desk to this desk, and now 10 minutes later, it's podcast time. No, we're having a great time. How are you, more importantly?
Yeah, no, it was a good week. It was a good week.
You got some oat milk in that coffee over there?
I did. I did. Shout out
Sometimes
to
Tim Hortons doesn't have oat milk. I don't know.
They were good. Shout out to Tim Hortons.
Yeah,
they want to sponsor.
no sponsor?
No,
take it off the screen.
We need our, before we came on, we were just talking, we need our S&P 5000 shirt.
Yeah.
Because that just happened.
Wow.
For the first time ever.
Yeah.
The index itself closing above 5,000 for the first time ever.
Check out these spiders here.
If you remember, like, I think it was about 5-6 years ago, there was a whole bunch of hats flying around.
Yeah, wasn't it Dow 20,000?
Dow 20,000 or something like that. There was nothing ever S&P related, but it seems like a milestone. I mean, we've been staring at this for, what is it, a week and a half now. Everyone's been saying S&P 5,000, S&P 5,000, S&P 5,000. Just like that, we are above it.
Yeah, it's absolutely monstrous.
Yeah.
I mean, it starts off with great earnings. I mean, we saw all, pretty much, I mean, which Mag 7 name disappointed? I mean, he's going to go with Tesla, and now it's booted out.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, we had Google not performing well, and today it's back up near that 150 again. Microsoft broke 52-week highs, all-time highs. Apple's the one that's lagging a little bit down near 190, but we're going to get to all of this, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if do we want to start talking about this rally?
Yeah,
because
let's just get into it.
Honestly, I feel like the good things about the market are quite simple, and I've wrote down a few things here. The earnings, we just talked about that a little bit. It feels like we're getting what we needed. You know, we're getting that PE aspect now, price and earnings. I mean, these stocks are following through.
Yeah.
Meta's delivering on huge numbers. These major corporations are beating across the board. It started with the banks a little struggling, some good, some not so good. Then all of a sudden, JP Morgan took the lead, and then next thing you know, we're off to the races.
Yeah.
Then when you get these major mega cap names continuously beating, then yeah, you're gonna get a monster move up in the S&P 500. So that continues to go. The data continues to get better, apparently. We had a huge GDP number, Brendo.
Yeah.
You know, 3+%.
And a revision today on CPI, we'll touch on that as well. But I think a lot of people were waiting for that. I mean, there was a lot of analysts even this morning saying, this is a big deal. Happy Saturday, by the way, if you're watching on the weekend. Hope you're enjoying your weekend morning coffee. Once again, the CPI revision came out today. Today is Friday for us, so happy weekend once again. And it was the entire last quarter of last year, so they revised October, November, December. It was a bit of a mixed bag.
Okay.
So October was up, November was down, or sorry, October, November were up, December was down, but December offset the other two, meaning that the overall number was also down, and the market initially liked that. So we did get a move higher initially on that, and here we are.
Sometimes I find like they're hiding that, right? Like all these revisions, like it's like there's always like the employment number comes out and it's okay, but then it just gets even better a month later, and they just don't want to shock the market with the best news of all time. So they just give you half, and you're like, oh, my bad, we forgot about another 100,000 jobs that were created. And then but then also, I have three key reasons here. Look at the weekly chart on the S&P, right? This is the spiders. I mean, breaking through that 480. We haven't looked back. This is 1 week, 2 weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row, straight upside. 5 weeks in a row. Sean, do some math. We have one down week right there. 5 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Maybe 16 of the last 17 weeks, Brendo. Nothing but love.
It's crazy.
That is insane. At least sometimes you get pullbacks.
Yeah.
So don't we think that this is a little euphoric? I mean, it cannot continue to happen.
I was having a conversation with someone here today about this, and I'll get your take on this as well. There was a lot of comments going into the end of last year and then at the beginning of this year about if this is the year we start to get interest rates coming back down and cuts are coming through, there's all this money, you know, listen to whoever you want. We've heard anywhere from $2 to $5 trillion sitting in money market funds that have been collecting 4, 5, 6%, just sitting there doing nothing for the past 3, 4, 5 years. Is this now the start that we're seeing on that chart of this money being transferred back into the market?
I don't know. You know what? I haven't really looked at volumes of the market. That would have been a good thing maybe for me to look at, but you're still... So another thing that I was going to put, so I had 3 points, and I'm going to talk about technicals in a minute, but the second point I had was Fed pivot. And the thing is that we know the Fed will basically rally or sink the market based on what their future outlook is for rates. But we've just seen, what is it, the 10 years heading back up to the upside.
Everything is.
So why are all these...
The 10, the 30, they're all higher again.
Right,
yeah.
So is the Fed pivoting? I mean, or are we extending this out? And we're going to have a couple charts for this, and I actually have something I want to talk about in a minute here as well. But I'm not even convinced yet that people are pulling money out of those money markets, because if you can sit there, right now you should have the most nervous hands possible, because we just talked about we can't really explain why we're so high up now. Yeah. So if you just say, hey, I'm going to take a 3-bagger on NVIDIA and put that money in 5.25%, let this thing settle out, I don't think that's a horrible idea. Yeah. So I actually could almost take the other way on that and say there could be more money piling in until the Fed does eventually do that pivot. But why in the world would they pivot? Look at the NASDAQ right here. This is my next point here, is that the technicals. This is the 50-period moving average that I like to look at. We've broken it here in November. We bounced off the 200, forget about that. But we haven't even really tested this 50 period at all. So right now the NASDAQ is up here, we're looking at the Qs right now, is at 436. The 50 period moving average is all the way back down here at 410, let's just say. I could see a healthy pullback into 410. We'll see if we can hold that 400. So that's about 7 or 8% back. That would be my call for where we're going. Yeah. If that happens, then you sort of rest on the Fed. But the thing about this is, here's a very, very interesting chart that I don't even think you and I have talked about. All right. Right now, the S&P 500's PE ratio is currently 32.3. Brendo, the average during the modern era is 20. We are at 32.3 right now. And this is a standard deviation chart that we're showing. No. But for those of you that listen to this podcast, we're now currently 1.5 deviations away from the mean, which is near highs of 2000 where we were, spiked up again, obviously, during COVID. But we're getting to that point where we are well away from this historical trend line. So again, I think we're getting lifted by PEs that are in companies that we expect the moon from, like NVIDIA, Microsoft, so on and so forth. So again, if you are a value investor right now, we are at a huge ratio, 32.3 on the PE ratio for the S&P 500. That to me is extended, but we're letting it ride.
It's a very different market as well.
And that's the other thing.
If you go back to that last spike on that chart,
yeah.
Conditions were dramatically different.
Yeah.
Companies were dramatically different. The world in general was dramatically different. Yep. So,
but I have bad things.
Does that matter at this point?
Well, what I was going to say is that that's bad. So we're now 50% above on the PE ratio, but we are in a different time, and we've talked about AI numerous times, and that is changing the multiples. Right? Because now all of a sudden you can be so much more efficient, potentially with less costs. So maybe you have to reweight some of these multiples. That was that. The other thing that I'm thinking about, what could also take this market down, not only potentially overvalued with those PEs, people could bring their accounts back into the low 20s. I'm still not convinced that this election talk is, and you asked me today if I saw that Tucker Carlson interview. I did not yet. But again, the closer we get to election, and we've talked about this, although it doesn't seem to affect the market that much.
Not this year.
I'm just thinking, Ukraine's still a problem with Russia. That's still a problem. I want to talk about China later on in the podcast, but obviously the second biggest economy in the world continues to show regression. So if that does continue, Brendan, and this input of stimulus into the Chinese economy doesn't hit the market the way we think it's going to hit, then yeah, we're starting to pull back, man. There's a huge drawdown in the FXI, and I just worried about it. Yeah. It's 60% off of the top. Did you see that stat that I gave today?
Which one?
NVIDIA's market cap is now larger than that of the entire Chinese stock market.
I actually looked that up. I wasn't able to find that. So I'm not sure if it's a combined thing. I looked up the Hang Seng and the Hong Kong exchange. One was like 90 billion. The other one was...
Yeah. So that might be right.
Oh, so sorry, you're saying the other way around.
I'm saying NVIDIA is greater than the market cap of the Chinese.
Well, I mean, it has been for a long time, if that's the case.
No, because NVIDIA just hit, what is NVIDIA's market cap right now? Hold on.
But if these exchanges are 90 billion, that's not that much.
Exchanges? Oh, 90 billion.
Yeah, that's not that much.
You said 900, I thought it was.
No, it was 90.
Oh, well,
it wasn't even that much.
No, but that's the index. I'm talking about the whole damn market. But anyways, right now, the market cap of NVIDIA, I was just looking at it today. Wow. Like, I almost said 2 trillion. I was like, it's not 2 trillion.
Is it?
It's 1.8. What? I said a story, and I said it, I thought I discussed this on the show the other day, but it might have been pre-show. And this goes back to a friend of mine, and I won't mention his name on the show, but in 2017, he sent me a screen cap of the Facebook message that we had with each other. And yeah, okay, boomer, we're probably messaging on Facebook back then in 2017. He put 30 grand into NVIDIA, and we talked about this. He sent me a screen cap of his current account value. He hasn't sold any of it. It's $597,000.
That's not bad.
$30,000 put into NVIDIA 7 years ago, and is now worth 600 grand.
That's not bad.
More today. $721 close, Brendan.
It's trading 91.95% times its earnings.
Yeah, reasonable.
Okay.
I mean, AMD's up. AMD's even worse.
AMD's 333.
And by the way, the long arm of the law also got extended this week with ARM.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to talk about that. Let's hold off on that because I want to dig into ARM a little bit. This is just real quick. This is what everyone on the street thinks for the S&P by the end of the year.
Oh, I like that.
A whole bunch of targets here for you, ranging from 4,200 to 5,400. These come out every year. They're always in a range from that standpoint. The only kind of way this matters, I think, there was somebody on CNBC. I forget where there was from. Might have been Morgan Stanley. A single analyst came on, going back to Monday or Tuesday this week, talking about 3,200.
What?
Obviously looking for a headline and some
pass.
clicks and a tweet or two. But the middle of the road here, 4,995. I mean, we're essentially there or there above, but you know, less than half have this thing above 5,000 by the end of the year.
I mean, look, people can make mistakes.
Sure.
You know, and I mean, I think that the fact is that a lot of these earnings came out of nowhere. People weren't expecting. I mean, we didn't expect Meta to pop 30%. You know, I mean, some of these names. Yeah, no, I mean, we did. What are I talking about? Of course we did. We had a name like, and we're going to talk about some of the trades we've talked about on the show, but we talked about Palantir that we liked, and a few of these other big names that continue to go. But Brendan, the big story, and we talked a little bit about the Fed. The year of efficiency, I just wonder if too many job cuts are going to continue to sort of potentially bring this market back in a little bit. I know that we're getting more efficient, and I have something here. This is from layoffs.fyi. I don't know where we get these things from, man. I mean, sometimes I'm just asking Gemini, you know, what's up, and they send me these things. But so far this year, there's been 138 tech companies laying off about 34,000 jobs. But the thing is, in 2023, so just in 1 month, we've had already, right, 34,000 jobs being laid off. All of last year, we only had 262,000, so that's about, you know, about 20,000 a month or so. Yeah. And then in 2022, we barely had any layoffs whatsoever. And this year, we're not on the right path. And then I was looking, I wrote down some names here, but you have Pure Storage, some of the bigger ones that have hit, DocuSign. This is just in the last couple of days. DocuSign 440, Amazon 400, Snapchat 500, and it just goes down and down and down. Okta with another 400, Zoom cutting. This is just in February. A big number from PayPal down there at 2,500. Another number there from Block. And the thing is that at some point, jobs are going to matter. Now we keep talking about these numbers don't seem to say that truth, but I don't know. So that would be one little worried spot for me about where the market currently is right now. But
as you said, though, a 3+ handle on GDP still.
Pretty strong.
With job cuts coming through, yes, but are they trying to front run something at this point with this cost cutting and with these reductions, trying to get ahead of, you know, troubles that might be in the water? I mean, we had, you know, one of the major media companies here in this country slashing a whole bunch of jobs as of this morning as well, which is a yearly occurrence for.
But is that an AI issue? Like, because now Okay, let's just talk about this. I mean, you know, we get the watch list. We get so much information. You scrape it from different sites, and then, you know, because we don't want to write down everything, you can throw it in to a Gemini or to a ChatGPT and just become so much more efficient and so much quicker. And I just think that that is eventually.
That's my point, though. Like, are they trying to get ahead of what is coming?
Yes. So you know what? I think, again, we're going to have this for next podcast. But what about looking into insider selling? Could that be something? I mean, it's just like if we all of a sudden figure out that, you know, Jensen has sold, I don't know, 10% of his holdings in NVIDIA or something like that, or he's filed, they have to file to sell. So maybe we can figure that out and see if that's sort of being flooded. Is that something? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, just because Elon Musk wants to get paid doesn't mean that he thinks Tesla's going down. It's just, it's part of compensation.
Yeah.
They work forever. They may want to buy an island or a bunker somewhere in Hawaii, and they need some cash to do that. By the way, Brendan,
yes,
not that I want to cage fight you or anything like that.
Whatever happened to that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that? I was so excited. Like when we were there in Rome, I went to Rome this summer. I was like, oh yeah, we saw the Colosseum, and I was like, how sick would this be? Like, because Elon was sort of tweeting like, yeah, let's get this done in the Colosseum. And then for some reason, I guess the Colosseum has a Twitter account, and they were like, yeah, no problem. Like, let's do this. And like, would that be something? But didn't Zuckerberg tear his ACL?
I was going to say, didn't he blow a shoulder or tear a
Yeah,
or
and now, I don't know. I think that would be great.
That might have
some
been
kind of a cage match there. Do we want to see that, or that's just like Jake Paul fighting like 70-year-old boxers? That
I feel like it might go very much one way. There's videos of.
I think Zuckerberg will be one pissed off dude.
There's videos of him training with GSP.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I thought Elon tagged somebody too. Was it Elon with GSP?
No, it was definitely Zuckerberg with GSP. But it was, I don't know.
Anyways, those guys can afford to possibly buy.
Yeah.
Some.
I want to touch on Gemini there because you kept mentioning it over and over.
Yeah, I have.
We got it in Canada finally.
Yes.
We have to wait. What is it? Almost a year after Brazil got it. Brazil got barred. We get the revamped Gemini.
Why are you throwing shade on Brazil? Those are some beaches I'd like to go.
I'm not throwing shade on Brazil. I'm throwing shade on Google because they chose Brazil before they chose
a much more populated country.
Has nothing to do with our prime minister and his views on how news should be disseminated.
You can't. I open up Instagram and it's like, oh, you can't read this story because you're in Canada.
Not allowed.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't matter what channel you go to. I went to CBC.
Right.
You can't see this channel. It's
dumb.
crazy.
What was your question again?
No, I just wanted to mention. With the variety of these platforms continuing to grow, I've been using Gemini over the past couple of days, and I got to be honest, like
it's nice, right?
We pay for ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I'm starting to ask the question why. There are a ton of add-ons that you can get.
That's what I was going to say. Isn't it an app thing? That's why.
But still, I'm starting to ask the question why, because Gemini is as good, if not better, in my opinion. For what we're using it for.
Yeah, so for me too, because you can actually ask, so for me, I don't have the paid version of ChatGPT, which of course Brendan does, what a surprise. The thing is that it doesn't give recent information, so I don't know if the paid version does.
No, but
like Gemini actually, no, but like I asked Gemini, like what's the story with the firm's latest quarter?
Right.
It might not have yesterday's, but it would have Q4 or whatever, Q3, the one before. ChatGPT literally just tells me, I don't have any data past 2022. So the thing is like, I feel that that's huge.
One of the things that I use it for on a daily basis is going to a news source, grabbing an entire story, and just say, summarize this in 5 points. So when you're doing
do that with both?
Of course, but when you're doing just stuff like that, like more efficiency type work, the date range means nothing, right? It's more just about speeding up the process. And like I was saying, it seems like, anyways, over the past couple of days, I've enjoyed it. Anyways,
so my whole take on all of that is that I almost feel like, I don't want to say there could only be one, but like Google now, they have a paid version as well, right? Yep. You saw that it comes with 2 terabytes. It's like that Apple all-in-one plan.
Yep.
So I think that there's some advantages to that, maybe over getting the Azure type all-in performance of ChatGPT. Like if you're not a Microsoft dude or whatever, and you just have a common, but Microsoft wins enterprise. And that's where the money is. Me and you paying $20 a month, although great, You know?
It got them to $2 billion.
It's not, no, that's fine. But Microsoft has such a huge advantage because imagine being a CIO and then you're like, oh, you know, like we're debating putting this in with Azure, but unfortunately it was a little too expensive, so we didn't implement AI. Here you go, CEO, go explain that on the call.
Yeah.
You know, so the point is that I think a lot of these companies are being forced right now to deal with Microsoft. And the other, you know the dirty thing, and I was talking about this with somebody on the, a mom that's on one of the hockey teams that my kids are on. She works with Microsoft. If you do not say yes to Microsoft, like you hang up the phone when that salesperson calls, guess which spot in line you go to? The damn back, Brendan.
I'm going to say the last.
You do not say yes now.
Yeah.
They've got a Rolodex,
yeah.
and they just go, okay, we only have so much power right now.
Right.
You don't want to implement this into your platform. We're moving on.
Pass.
And then, so you don't do that. It's going to be a problem. But the idea that I had was the Pixel will have Gemini. Yeah. iPhones will have whatever Apple eventually comes out with. Yeah. Samsung, like, so end of the day, I feel like there could be multiple winners, but I really like Microsoft in the AI space because of that enterprise. Everything I'm hearing has been so amazing.
I mentioned this. I mentioned this on the show going back to Tuesday. If you haven't done so already, make sure you join us every weekday when the market is open on the live show on YouTube as well. There's another AI site called Perplexity that I was introduced to this week as well. It's there's no public version of it. It's a group of the initial developers that were at OpenAI left.
Bolted, right? Okay, that's what
this was way back in 2019, 2018, and they've been working on this Perplexity.
But there's only a paid version. Is that what it is?
I think so. Yeah. Anyways, it's also another one. So there's, I mean, there's Anthropic, there's Perplexity. There's so many now. It seems like it gets to a point where, you know, are people going to have to say, okay, I'm just going to use this, or I'm going to use this for this, and then this one for this instead? Almost like...
That's why I don't know where it's going to go on the consumer side. You know, for me, like even Grok, I mean, I'm staring at my Twitter account right now. It says upgrade. I mean, it's right here. Look, upgrade to Premium Plus. Like that gives you Grok.
Yeah.
You know, like Grok, you know, here it is. You want to Grok something, it says down here. What is Grok? You know, this is an example. But you can't get this without the $20 a month added on.
Best name by far for an AI.
Yeah, Grok. Yeah, I like that. I don't like Ernie. What was that, Alibaba's or Baidu's or something?
I saw today they're teaming up with Lenovo. They're going to make a phone with Ernie in it.
What about Huawei?
Who knows?
No, but so what I think we're both getting at here is that you're going to choose one, and that's that. But think about for Amazon with Anthropic or whatever. To me, it's more about Rufus. We talked about this last week. Building AI into the platform where Amazon can say, okay, Brendan is looking up dress shirts of this style. Let's show him other styles and compare them and then make the buying process just like, because you know what, honestly, Amazon's kind of garbage right now. Like not garbage in the way that it provides me and my family pretty much everything. In the searching, I don't really like, I don't like if you did type in dress shirts, like you would just get,
there's a lot of work you have to do.
Yeah, and it's like, and then you got to say, okay, like, you know, cotton or I don't know, whatever. I just feel that it will start to understand what you're looking for, what you're feeling.
And just show you
and then just show you, okay, you are a higher end buyer or a lower end buyer. Therefore, when you show that, this is what it is. And these are the opportunities. That to me is where all these companies benefit. And at the end of the day, as a shareholder, that's all we care about. Can they become more efficient? Can they create us, the retail buyer, this is just for Amazon, for example, into purchasing faster, quicker, and more of the product. So you've seen Amazon. I mean, look at Amazon's chart, man. Today was a monster, up 3% for Amazon. Look at this. This is gapped away. Like Amazon here before earnings was 174. I had a friend of mine, and I said this on the show. This was a while ago. I'm trying to load the weekly chart up here. He sent to me when this was sub 100 down here, and everything was just getting crushed, literally back at the lows. And he's like, "When is Amazon getting back to highs?" I remember messaging him. I said, "Never," you know, because I was like, "The world's coming to an end."
Yeah, it felt bad.
You know, and then now all of a sudden, Amazon is a sneeze away, man. We are now. This is the one name. There's two names, but this is the other one that is not clearing its highs yet. That's Amazon and Apple up here up to 188. But did Google, I was going to say Google as well, but just today, man, Just today, or just
that's a weekly.
This is the weekly. So just last week, they did bump over its all-time highs again. And today, another big move upside for Google.
Let's get into a few earnings here because there's a ton, not only still to come, coming up next week, but that we just went through. I want to touch on this. I saw this chart and kind of stopped for a second and said, what? This is Uber
I want to talk
versus Lyft over the past 2 years, 24 months. Uber has returned 92.9%.
Yeah.
Lyft down 66%. Record monthly active users.
That's all right if you're in Lyft.
For Uber. It's not all right.
No,
it's the problem.
Really bad.
It's, let's be honest, it's a problem. Record monthly active users, absolutely stellar quarter, outside of the fact that some analysts were saying that their forecast was a little bit, quote unquote, conservative.
Analysts, what do they know? Look at this. I don't know. I have a graphic up here right now. You've probably seen this. Maybe you have not. This is exactly what you're talking about. This can't be any better. This is the Uber booking boom. Like, this just keeps ticking up, man. In 2021, you know, this number was 6 billion, 8 billion, 10 billion. Just as we come out of the pandemic, their gross bookings are just absolutely ripping right now. And I purposely don't, here's Google. Let me put back to Uber for everybody. The chart is absolutely insane.
414 million
Brendan,
daily active users.
They finally, full year profit.
Yeah.
First time ever.
We're
full
there.
year profitability.
Yeah.
The big number for me, for them, and again, I have it right here, their forward look, they guided higher. So their low side was 1.26 billion to 1.34 billion on adjusted EBITDA.
Yeah.
Their expected was 1.26. So their low is where they're expected, and then they're guiding even higher. Not too many companies came out and guided that much better than that. 2.6 billion trips, revenue up 15% year over year, gross bookings up 22%. We just talked about that. Not only that, Brendo, they have $5.4 billion cash on hand. So that's important, and I'll tell you why. The only thing that I think slows Uber down is some kind of a strike by the drivers.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if your business is growing, because like I look at trading as a business, right? Like I sit there, we have the show, and then we also have an account that I trade where we're trying to, you know, put money in the bank and feed the family and all that kind of jazz. So to me, it's like, as an Uber driver, I would look at it the same way. You're running your own business. Of course, you work for Uber, but you're an independent contractor in many states and in many countries.
Yeah.
If they can band together, and I'm not talking about a union, we've seen that get squashed a little bit. I fear that they may have to, and I believe, what was it, Lyft was starting to pay some of their drivers?
I think they both had to.
Yeah, so I feel like that's fine because they've got that 6 billion cash on hand.
I want to take a different angle on this. And this has to do directly with this 6 billion. Who cares about the drivers? Because
we're not there yet.
No, I get it, but let's be honest. They have $6 billion just sitting there that they could buy, let's be honest, a crap ton of Tesla Model 3s once Tesla Model 3s are autonomous. And now that the company is profitable, this is the only company that could directly compete with Tesla.
But remember,
Tesla deploys their army of autonomous Model 3s all over the world.
Yeah, but you still need to have a driver.
For the first month, 2 months, 3 months.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think the government is ready yet to have a bunch of robot taxis driving around everywhere.
I'm talking about the day that Elon Musk solves this problem. Because let's be honest, it'll be him that does this.
What the problem is?
Autonomous
driving.
I
thought we solved it.
What, in San Francisco, in a gridded 4 or 5 block radius that they were allowed to drive in, and we're still running into stuff? No, I'm saying, like, solve, period, end of story.
Right, yeah.
All over the world.
So that's great for Uber, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to get to.
I know, I'm a shareholder.
Yeah, and I mean, this thing's already, like, this chart is insane.
I'd be trimming. I already did trim some. We trimmed some on the, right here. Here's the move up in the S&P 500, Brendo. We had a huge move up. They got included. Then it fell down. I thought I was pretty smart getting out in and around here. We talked about that. Yeah. I think it was a little bit higher. I think it was 60. I think we got a pretty decent price. It might have been upside here. But then it just kept on going and going and going, and I don't think anything's going to stop it. We just talked about that bang up quarter, and honestly, it's a huge boom. It's It's a great stock, and it's leaving Lyft behind, and why bother?
Here's my complaint.
But don't you get pissed off if you have to wait 20 minutes for a car?
That is my complaint.
So that is... Okay.
But that's what I don't understand. Bookings are through the roof. You still have to, it blows my mind every time I order an Uber and I walk outside of my building.
Cab sitting there.
And I stand on the sidewalk and a cab goes by, there's a cab parked on the side, there's another one across the road.
Those cab companies also have apps?
Exactly.
I know,
but I'm an idiot standing there staring at my phone watching my Uber driver.
The worst. And the wife is like, what the hell are you doing like that? I know. But you know why? It's because we think it's cheaper, but it's probably not.
It's not at all.
I know. We're a bunch of
idiots.
idiots.
Literally not.
I was just saying, I purposely, like after a concert or a sporting event, we'll stay back and grab a drink or walk even like a kilometer, or not even, just so you can get out of the zone, so maybe you can find a driver. But that's huge demand.
You and I went to, with Sharif and Neil, to the Raptors game earlier this year. When we left that night, I ended up having to walk from Scotiabank Arena to King Street. And I ended up getting on a streetcar.
I was going to say, why don't you just walk the rest of the way from there?
I got on a streetcar.
You're running 10K?
No, but you couldn't even get an Uber around the Air Canada Centre.
I might do an Uber Black, I was thinking. Like, get a car, have a nice.
They wouldn't even show up. Anyway.
I want to be a driver, is what I'm saying.
Actually be an Uber driver.
Yeah, because the thing is, remember you talked about all of that? So what about the autonomous driving where those are in Model 3s?
Yeah.
What if somebody wants that sick, like, Drake experience
Escalade?
where you're showing up in, like, a huge
The Suburban?
This is how crazy my dad is. He has, like, it's him and my mom, and they want to travel. He's getting into the retirement mode right now, and he's mad that he bought, there's a small Lincoln, there's the Aviator. Like, he's 70 years old. Like
the Matthew McConaughey?
Right, and then there's a smaller one. Well, he went with the smaller one.
Yeah.
But he remembers back like 15 years ago, the best car that he ever had, he thinks, was the Escalade. So now he's telling me that he wants to get rid of the smaller one, him and my mom, and he wants to get into an Escalade. And I'm just like, what are you even doing? He's like, well, we're planning on traveling out east.
Right.
So I want a bigger car.
I want to be comfortable.
More luggage, comfortable. I said, okay, I have a plan for you. All right? Instead of paying all the fees of selling your car, losing on that, and then driving a car off the lot, being down 20%, rent something. Rent an Escalade.
Go drive.
Yeah, just go to get unlimited kilometers or miles on the plan. Open up your Uber app, which, by the way, you can now have car rentals from Uber. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, so I was looking at that and I was showing him. And it was like $50 a day, unlimited driving. Just get an Escalade, take it out east, put on your whatever many thousands of kilometers you're going to do, and then come back home and don't worry about having then a huge car for you and my mother to drive around the streets.
Those things are land yachts.
Yeah, I mean, eventually it's going to be in a landfill because everyone's going to change over. GM, poor GM. They need to get that going as well.
Yeah,
they had a great quarter, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think it's on our list, but we'll...
we have a list for this?
No. Okay. Let's talk about Spotify, just because that's the next graphic I brought up here. It was an impressive quarter for them as well. This is monthly active users on the ad-supported tier, and the ad-supported tier versus the premium side of things. So long story short, ad-supported is now bigger, and has been for the past couple, but bigger than the premium tier. They can happily have my money, month over month over month. I don't even know what I pay for Spotify.
Exactly, because you're rich. There's a difference.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, so here we go. You are, Brendan, okay? No, I don't think any of us are. I mean, we're sitting here on a Friday night doing a podcast.
Exactly.
Okay, so just real quick. I'm trying to be real.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right. So I like Spotify. I cannot believe you can run a business at such negative earnings, but get this kind of a move up. I mean, by the way, Ramin just messaged us and said, we're forgetting about Uber Eats and how huge that is. And I feel like that is a big advantage to Uber versus Lyft. There's many different angles to that, but we're on Spotify now. But anyways, it's a 3.7 billion euro, I guess, 16%. I have the stats here on the screen if you guys are not listening and watching. But look at this. It's the operating loss still of 75 million euros. So, I mean, it's still not a pretty profitable company, obviously, but it's the growth, like you just mentioned. 23% year-over-year growth in active users, 15% year-over-year growth in premium subscribers, as you just mentioned, plus another, I mean, the numbers are absolutely monstrous. And if you're going to pay something for Spotify, I was going to say Snapchat, that's on my mind going the other way. Yeah, Spotify continues to work. This was one of the first direct listed stocks I ever bought. I did that. I'm out of Spotify, but it's been a nice move up. This is another one of those names I can't seem to understand. As rates continue to be high,
and the point is, and I want to come back to,
wait till they turn profitable.
And that's what I want to come back to, is what you just showed. The loss side of this.
Market cap.
They just passed over $250 million to Joe Rogan again. I think the first one was 100.
And we have a deal hooking up with them.
But they're handing out these contracts left, right, and center, and they're not even making money. Like, what is the plan here for Spotify?
Well, I know what the plan for us is, Brendan. On Monday, instead of sitting here reading the news, contact the Spotify salespeople and say, look, we have a similar podcast to that of the Joe Rogan Experience, and we would be willing to do something on, I mean, 5% of what they paid him.
A fraction?
5%. See, start at 7, Brendan, and then.
Yeah. I was reading though
I feel like you asked me a question. I just didn't.
I've actually looked into this. I was reading the profit share on Spotify apparently is industry worse.
Yeah. Wow, that would make sense. Why? Oh, industry profit share, so they should be making more money.
Like for creators.
Why can't I find their market?
Like if you're a creator, you go to Spotify, you open an account, you get to a point where you can monetize
47.
it. I read it's like $2 to $2.50 per 1,000 streams. That's very, very low. On YouTube continues to be the highest in that. I
mean, Spotify is a great product. We used to have it. We're all wrapped up in one. The only difference about Spotify to me is we can stream. So Apple, you can't stream the video for a podcast like this, but Spotify you can.
Correct.
So I feel like there are some still advantages there. You can on Apple?
You can, but it has to be hosted by them, Ramin?
All right, so we do have to. By the way, I feel like if Ramin wants to speak into that, can we get that audio?
I feel like we can. It's a matter of convincing Ramin.
What do you mean? She has such a great voice.
No, it's not. Ramin just said it's hard to monitor yourself. It's not.
And Ramin said if we want her to add content,
I listen to myself all day, every day. Anyways, doesn't matter.
I listen to myself so much, I give myself a headache. It's like, I'm like, why am I even talking? Like, yeah, it's quite a bit. Okay, so no, Spotify, Apple, this is a perfect time for everybody to hit the like, subscribe.
Yeah, it is. But what is the plan here? Did we answer the question? What is the plan for Spotify?
No, but that's what I didn't understand. Like, I don't understand what else they're offering. I don't know if I don't think they're going to get bought out. They're not making any money. I just looked at their market cap is $47 billion.
Joe Rogan is their claim to fame.
That's not a target.
Yes, active users are growing. Yes, the ad-supported tier is there and starting to.
So maybe do they do something with a YouTube? Do they do something where they kind of do like a joint venture, kind of like how Disney put a little bit of money there into Epic Games and then they shared some of that?
Yeah.
We had an interesting thing the other week about Rumble, how they're changing the ad tier.
Right.
So I wonder if Spotify can maybe do something like that to bring more content in where they don't have to pay as much to the content provider, and maybe they'll give them some benefits of ad reads or things like that, similar to what Rumble does. But honestly, Brendan, I feel like we're spending a lot of time here on Spotify. I like the stock, but I'm with you. I can't explain this most recent run up other than huge, huge, huge growth. And if you're looking for growth companies, which many ETFs and many funds are, then Spotify would probably be leading the way, not only in technology, but in growth. I mean, it's an absolute, we just talked about two huge growth names, Uber and Spotify leading the way.
I want to give this guy a shout out because he hit me up this week from, I can't even see the company name now, Amagi, A-M-A-G-I. Apparently what they do is they are going after live content on YouTube and introducing the live content on YouTube to I mean, he even names them here, Samsung, Amazon is one of them, Roku, the Hulus of the world, those types of platforms. So taking some of the content that's already being produced by independent creators and transferring it over to.
Whatever happened with us streaming live on Netflix? TraderTV.Live Netflix.
I am available all day, every day.
I mean, we could even do like, we're sitting here on a trading floor. I mean, I was always thinking that like, there's so much reality TV out there that like, We have a lot of characters on the floor, man.
Yeah, man.
Like I just feel like, you know, you bring a camera in here, you walk around, tell some stories, some jokes.
Let's keep going. I want to talk about OpenAI because we had a huge week once again for Microsoft in general. Closed basically at the highs today, Friday afternoon here. OpenAI, Sam Altman doing the rounds, looking to generate or raise.
We had a great trade today on
between
Microsoft.
or 3 or whatever it is, and $7 trillion.
I almost thought that was a mistake.
It's not.
It must be.
It's not.
Brendan.
He's said this openly in interviews.
Were they trying to solve the national debt?
No, he wants to create GPUs and chips for this next revolution of AI. And I read back through those numbers 2 or 3 times today.
NVIDIA.
The entire sales in AI focused chips last year
It's serious when Brendan hits
was
the table.
$568 or $569 billion. He's talking about $7 trillion. He wants to raise.
Maybe we're just in the beginning times here.
Does Microsoft get into the chip business?
No. Really? You think so?
They own 40% of this company.
I don't know.
Does Microsoft allow Sam Altman to go and do whatever he wants with chips?
So the story is just so continuing here with AI, Brendan. I mean, I don't think any of us really have a realistic answer to any of that. I think it's great for Microsoft shareholders. I think we talked about this earlier. It's the enterprise that's there. If they want to, so the reason why I say I don't think that Microsoft should be like focused on the development of their new chips is because they're really rocking with what they're doing right now. And if us as shareholders are willing for them to put some money into R&D and into these foundries or whatever the hell they're going to have to build to start making their own chips, then I just wonder, is that the right spend of money? But apparently it is.
Yeah.
What if this AI is just a boom? We've talked about every 3 years you may need to upgrade your technology. And if that is the case and that keeps on going, then we're in such early days right now that it's absolutely unbelievable what could be coming through here. All this means to me is buy more Microsoft.
Agreed. And
so I feel like we beat a dead horse sometimes here with this.
The chart I wanted to touch on here from the technical aspect. How do you do that right now? This is a weekly chart.
I bought Google on Open 2 days ago when they released Gemini into Canada, and I just do it with my eyes closed.
No, but we just talked about the fact that Google and Apple are the ones that are still looking for that, or among the ones looking for that high.
Right.
Microsoft is not only at highs, it's been at highs for, what is this, 2 months? 6, 8 weeks kind of thing? So it's getting to a point with not only Microsoft, but all of these leading AI/chip type names that, how do you buy them?
Okay, remember what I told you the average PE was for the S&P 500 was 32.3? Microsoft's right now is 37. So
it's actually higher post-market too. I just
right. Okay.
It just goes up.
So 37.1.
Yeah.
But the idea.
No, I mean the price.
The stock. No, I know.
Price,
I'm just adjusting the PE higher. I think it deserves a higher market multiple than
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
Like if I could say the average S&P, just buying the S&P right now, all built in, and of course Microsoft's going to be 10% of that anyways, is 32, and Microsoft's only 37. I feel like maybe it's cheap at these levels, and I feel so stupid saying that. But honestly, I mean, if you're going to keep it, and we had this podcast back in probably podcast 8 or 9, when you asked me, what are we going to do? I guess I can just go back probably 4 weeks. That is 13. So yeah, let's do some math there. 8, 9, 10. We said, what are we going to do in the new year? And I think we both kind of said the same thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, here's the 50-period moving average for Microsoft. And I just go back to this. It's really funny. I do feel like cherry picking sometimes because pretty much all the stocks that everyone talks about had this bottom. The whole market bottomed pretty much near, October, basically Halloween there, November 1st, late October 26th, whatever that capitulation move down there was, and then straight back up for Microsoft. But there's the bottom. It hit the 50-period moving average. We hung around there. We retested the 50-period again back in January, just now, when everyone thought that this could have been like, oh my God, the market went down the first 3 days of the month, Brendan. What were we going to do?
The world was ending.
And then that just turned out to be, ho-hum, another 10% rally there from Microsoft, basically on no news, but bang up earnings.
Yeah, and you make a great point. Close eyes, push buy button, move on.
That's what I did on, I mean, I just put a buy order in on Google and I got filled at 145 and change. Today was 150 again. I don't think you worry about it. I like your strategy, man.
Yeah.
Buy the best
You know what? Since I said that,
yeah, it's been
my stress level has come down a lot.
way down. Don't even look at it, baby.
I mentioned we come back to ARM, so let's do that because they reported as well. There's a lot of people I think that are looking for.
You got a huge dip today, though.
The next, deservedly so. It's also higher post-market right now. How can we make the argument here, Sean, that this is A, the next, and B, where do we buy this?
Right. All right, I'm just trying to get a 60-minute chart here because that move was just so huge. Okay, so here's the move up for ARM. So the problem is that they're in 99% of smartphones. Their market cap is only, which is getting bigger now, 118 billion. I shouldn't say only. It was only something down here. Now it's way extended. But the thing is, it's the SoftBank story. I thought we found out that the first lockup period for SoftBank was March 10th.
I think they were just doing the math, like 180 days or whatever
it is
from the actual.
They own 90%. SoftBank took a huge write-down, obviously, for WeWork and for many other investments, but they've had some hits as well. I feel like they're going to have to get out of some of that.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, when do we buy it? I think we wait for that news. But I almost feel like once that's announced, you will start to see a steady decline in share price for ARM, and you just want to incrementally buy dips on this stock. And I just want to come over to today. This is what happens. Let me just call up, first of all, a 2-minute chart, because that should give us this. This actually happened on open. ARM went down to 102, okay? ARM yesterday was 120, let's go with 125. 123, that wick up there was 127. So just, Brendan, in 24 hours, we hit a high of 127 and a low there of 102. 25% in your account, buying the top, depending on where you bought. That's a lot of a swing to be seriously invested, especially with one day, no new news. But it recovered all the way. So the indicator that I would use right here is, I don't know if it bounced off the 200 for reasons or not, but the 200 now is at 110. That's also an area that we topped out on earnings, pulled back, then broke through it, and that was the hero punch long there at 110 or 108. I feel like you start to buy there, then you wait for that news from SoftBank. If you're lucky enough to get anything at 94, 95, then you take that. But honestly, we have a bigger problem happening right now. And I don't want to say NVIDIA is a problem, because it's definitely, if you've got 99 problems and NVIDIA is one of them, you're doing really damn well.
Life is good.
Okay, but NVIDIA does come out on February 21st. NVIDIA's reported before and seen their stock price fall in. This is a report date right here in October. 472, down into 396. That's gave back from 472 down to 400, Brendan. That's 25%. You could trim out here 25%. And if you do that from 725, take down 20% of that, you're back sub 600, and you're back here looking at 539, and people are jumping out of windows. They're not, but hopefully they're not.
Yeah.
That's what you have to be prepared
Worried,
for.
yeah.
Okay, so you said we're sleeping much better these days. I say we got to hold out for February 21st. It's not going to have an ARM or Meta moment. I don't think we extend too far past. I think it would be foolish for them to put a huge number on. When they went from 3 billion to 9 billion, that was like an aha moment. We have SMCI. You want to talk about bubbles happening possibly right now? SMCI in 17 trading days has more than doubled. And this new move right here was on the guide forward. Then they come out and give you the numbers that they told you they were going to give, and then it bumps up another move. So we go from 539 on earnings day up to 746 today, and still going higher. If there's not some aspect of a bubble in share price, then I don't know what else. I mean, this to me looks very bubble-ish on SMCI and on NVIDIA. Not to say they're not going to perform, but I feel like investors are getting ahead of themselves on these plays. The only one that's trading accordingly, I feel like AMD is kind of hovering around, doesn't know what to do. They're waiting for the big dog, and I'm waiting for it too. We're not too far away from February 21st. Brendan.
Sean.
Super Bowl, I wanted to ask you, because we don't talk too much sports draw on the show, it's just me and Neil. You have any traditions in the Wickens family for Super Bowl? You guys do anything? You order in food? Maybe there's a dish that your wife makes for you?
Literally nothing.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, next topic.
Let's just move right on. I want to go back. Hold on. We'll get to Super Bowl. I want to go back to these chip stocks for a second. And this kind of ties.
Super Bowl, you can have chips and dip. I mean, I pretty much gave that to you. That could have been something. Chips?
No.
All right, let's go back before Ben gets really upset.
This goes back to exactly what I was hinting at the beginning of when we were talking about this, in the sense that there's so much money sitting around, and people need to put it somewhere. And we're seeing these types of moves in the SMCIs of the world and the ARMs now of the world. It feels like we sit here every day and stare at all this stuff. It feels like
FOMO?
No, well,
So
yeah, I mean, it's one way to describe it, but it feels like people are searching for where to park all of this money in the next short-term, name your time period. But you made a good point in that NVIDIA could spoil this party in a couple weeks.
I'm just trying to be honest. Like, that friend that I have there, is it not prudent to take a little bit of that, park it into take a little bit of your wins, park it into 5 1/4 for 6 months, and
people don't do that.
I know people don't do that, but yeah.
I mean,
people are looking to park their money somewhere. I don't know, parking money. Like, I would say you buy the best names. Are you buying Pfizer?
Not right now.
No. We got bad news from Moderna a little bit there. Yeah. We've talked about healthcare names that we really like. Eli Lilly is blasting. We're not even talking about that name. Tesla, like, it's just, I just feel like if you're going to put your money somewhere, it has to be in the market. I would buy the Qs at this point.
Exactly.
I don't know if
and that's a great point. And when it comes to the pharmaceutical names, when it comes to those types of stocks, instead of trying to understand what the hell it is that Moderna even does outside of make COVID vaccines that don't work.
Cancer.
Just buy ETFs.
Right.
No,
buy the IBB, buy the biotech.
Buy a healthcare ETF. Don't try and...
You like XLV, wasn't that one of your...
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Just real quick, this is a breakdown of ARM's quarter.
Yeah.
It continues to grow as rightfully so. I mean, there's no surprises here. This is royalty, and as you were saying, this technology is in 90+% of smartphones.
Yeah, the thing about it,
everyone is paying them.
Don't you kind of feel like this is just such a good story that there has to be something wrong?
And it
no,
might,
but
maybe
seriously,
it is
honestly, I honestly kind of am starting to feel like this.
Maybe it is the smart.
Are they actually making as much money as, like, sure, they're in everything, but
maybe it's a SoftBank angle.
And then maybe, honestly, we keep talking about mobile. This is an iPhone 12. We're on 16. This is not slowing down, and I know you just kind of got a new phone, but barring brand new technology, like, I wonder if iPhone 16 comes out with, obviously it's going to be just like the Pixel 9. It can be a faster GPU. Still going to have ARM in it, but maybe you're not buying a new phone until 2, 3, 4 years when your cycle might have been 2 before. Maybe now it's pushed out to 3 or 4. Right. ARM's got to get into more products. We got to hear more stories about that. I like it, but I kind of just, it's passing the sniff test, but kind of like that Vegemite. I feel like it's in the eye of the beholder. And if you want to take risk with ARM, I feel like there's some, I mean, Neil was trimming, he was saying he got some out yesterday. I don't know if or maybe it was this morning. I feel like that's the prudent thing to do and wait for the next quarter. But hey, by then it might be $5,000. So who knows? Brendan, I'm going to ask you another question before, you see how I didn't even let you say anything?
Okay. Please.
Very simple question. And I want everybody.
Who's playing in the Super Bowl?
Ramin, I'm not sure if you know the answer to that. What I'm going to do is, and Ramin, oh yeah, that's right, we have to pay her more if she's going to add content.
Yeah.
All right. On the chip thing, I'm just thinking about this out loud. You'll have an answer for this.
Okay.
I know what your answer is going to be, I feel like.
Please.
All right. So because you don't have any traditions, guacamole or salsa, if I gave you a choice and you had the tortillas there or the chips and you had the dip of your choice, I have a feeling you're going to say both. Like, I'm going to honestly walk out of here.
That's tough, man. That's so tough.
Wow, good. I got a great question in here, baby. Fabian, guacamole, or salsa.
Yeah.
Everyone's choosing guac.
But that being said, if I find a good salsa, like, I'll smash the whole thing in one sitting.
You smash both things and I'll still
Exactly. Like they're both.
So you would choose guacamole?
I don't care. I'm easy, man. You?
Thanks for asking. Queso. No. I would choose guacamole. Yeah. I love guacamole. Come on. The wife makes it. I mean, it's got to be homemade, first of all. Like you said, it has to be 100%. Smashable as far as the quality.
Are you a chunky onion guy or a small chopped up onion guy?
I would be small. I'm not a fan of fresh red onion.
Really?
I prefer it like sauteed. The crunchiness, sort of that taste, I prefer them, sauteed or cooked a little bit more. It's the same thing with peppers. Guac, no, like that, but smaller chunks, 100%. Anyway, that's what the wife does. Chops it up, man. You get a little bit of everything in there. It is so good. But I love salsa too. Oh my God.
With a cold,
why did I ask that
cold
question?
beverage?
Why did I ask that question? Oh, another question for you then, because we're on this topic and I got you in a good mood. All right, hard or soft shelled tacos?
Soft. Please, that's a question? Soft. Soft. That's not even a...
What, Fabian? Why not both?
Why not a soft within a hard?
Oh yeah, what are those called? Gorditas?
Something like that. Yeah.
On Taco Bell?
We're getting off topic.
I prefer hard. Oh God, there was a Michael Scott joke there. That's what she said.
That may or may not be a short this weekend.
That's what she said. I had to say it. Damn it. There's supposed to be a family.
There's a ton of things coming up next week. Let's keep the ball rolling here. A ton of things coming up next week.
I have one more random question.
One of those, keep it for the end.
I will.
One of those is inflation.
Never heard of it.
CPI, Tuesday morning at 8:30.
So many good earnings coming up next week.
And so many good earnings coming up next week.
Why do we care about CPI? I say that rhetorically. Go ahead. You tell me why.
Here's why.
I'll tell you what
and shout out to Frank. We talked to Frank from IG on the show 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Thursday afternoon. Come join us. He's beyond smart. He was making a really great point that we've been stuck in the 3 to 4% range for, I think it was 4 or 5 readings now, to a point where the market is at all-time highs and seemingly very comfortable with 3 to 4% inflation at this point. Has 3 to 4% now become the new 2% for the Fed? Because the market doesn't care.
Apparently not, though, because they keep saying they're rolling out some Fed speakers this week, as we know. We've had a couple of Fed speakers coming on. They keep talking about like we're heading into our target. We're getting into that.
But it's not.
Two-handle.
It's not going down. It's stopped.
I know, but but wouldn't it be that if they cut rates, then we're kind of trying to tease inflation back to the upside?
That's the problem.
So that goes back to my first point that we talked about when we first started this podcast was Fed pivot, yay or nay? Maybe it's a nay after all.
I think so.
Maybe they just keep rates where they are because the economy's, but Brendan, the Fed is not supposed to look at the stock market.
True.
So maybe they just say to themselves, hey, the economy's going hot right now. That's why I keep saying over and over again, every single podcast, that jobs, jobs, jobs. When those numbers start turning around, then you'll start getting Biden or whoever's talking about jobs, and that's when it starts to hit the news wires. U.S. lost jobs this month. What are we doing? Look at the rates. We can't have high rates because mortgage rates are out of hand, and also we have consumer debt that's getting crazy. How can you pay 30% to a firm? How could you pay 30% to Visa? My stocks, my debt is piling up, and this and that. But until we lose our jobs, then who really cares? There was a study that it was something like 45% of a U.S. Consumer, citizens, I guess consumer, because you don't want to take in, it has to be a certain age, right? Working age. Don't even have any savings. They don't have a month worth of savings. That doesn't mean they don't own stocks or anything like that, but in their bank account, they have barely a month worth. So what's up with that?
There was a survey that came out in this country 2 days ago that I was reading as well, and that was pointing to the simple fact that most people, I think it was 45 and older, don't know how they're going to retire. They have no plan. They have no ability to retire.
That's why I have no plans to retire either. It's Trader.TV.Live, baby. We're not going anywhere.
How could you not?
Podcast 13, put a couple zeros on that and then bury me in my grave.
Hit the like
anywhere. What's up, Fabian? You're here with me too, bro.
There's the earnings list for next week is insane.
Ooh, I tweeted that out.
Shopify, Upstart, Airbnb, Lyft. Speaking of Lyft, Oxy. Shout out to Warren. DraftKings, Roku, DoorDash, Coinbase, Datadog, Hasbro. I mean, it goes on and on. Twilio, Robinhood, Crocs.
Twilio, bang.
Oh, here's the best one. Open Door.
Ooh la la. Oh, we had oh, by the way, I had someone on our street. I haven't seen houses going up. First of all, isn't that kind of strange?
Yeah.
Used to be a lot of houses for sale. Now
a lot more for lease signs instead of for sale.
I've noticed that as well. We finally got one across the street. You know what they say now? They say coming soon.
Yeah. Teasel.
You know, and then everybody, and I must have saw yesterday, like multiple people in and out of this house across from us. So I think Open Door.
So the demand is still there then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's really crazy, and I think it's because of higher rates.
Right.
People aren't able to refinance, and they say, well, I'm not going to get out of my house and have to remortgage at the current rates. Doesn't really make any sense. But okay, so my big trade that I'm really looking forward to is Roku, and I think that it's kind of an easy one because there's a 10%, I think it was 10% short float, 9% short float on Roku. If you come over to the chart, it's looking real good, man. We just bounced off the 50 period moving average. It looks like it wants to take out this 96, 97. Next stop is 100. The next stop is this 108. So if you go from today's price of 96, break through this 108, that is something that easily Roku can do, man. We saw it's a 17% expected move on Roku. We had a very, very similar expected move on Meta, blast to the upside. Not only that, I feel like streaming, Netflix came out with a monster number. Disney was okay with their streaming numbers, not great, but talking about repackaging a few things. And if Roku drops letters like AI into their offering as well, because again, Roku streams unique products. They have some of their own shows. I think Roku has a great opportunity to get back up to the upside. So for me, a swing trade, if you think that Roku has not just that, I don't even think you have to think that much about it. You could take the long, wait for that report to come out, which is, I believe it was Thursday. I'm just going to double check. It's post-market on February the 15th. I think that's well worth the risk there for Roku. That's a trade for me next week. I really like that one. And then the other name that I like that is another AI darling, and I'd hit the O Canada thing if I could. Look what Shopify is doing on the daily, Brendo. Another name that me and my silly self sold some of what I own in and around here because I'm like, oh, we're back up to these highs.
All-time highs.
Man, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do with Shopify. It's down at $46. Oh, it doubled in a month? We're going to get out. And didn't double, but it went up about...
Welcome to my world, Sean. Welcome
75%. I think Shopify, again, I've been to a few restaurants. I say, what's that cool terminal? They say, oh, this is Shopify. It's producing really well.
Yeah.
I think the consumer remains super strong. Shopify, I think, possibly blows it out as well. That's coming on February 15th with a short float of only 2%. To me, doesn't matter. I think Shopify takes it out. This is a name that's been a lot higher than where it is, and I think it goes. So for me, Roku and Shopify next week, let's go. Anything you're looking at?
Airbnb, I think, is the only one that makes a lot of sense at this point.
Wait a minute, what did Expedia? Didn't Expedia go up then down today?
Have you seen Airbnb lately?
Isn't it back to 150?
It is.
Yeah.
But it's also at a very, very juicy level.
Juicy?
Go to a weekly chart.
Oh, weekly chart. I'm on it.
This.
You have it up. Okay, good. Let me see. Yes, there it is, baby. Oh no, Brendan Wickens, not just a guy that sits at the desk, but he finds great trades too.
I like your song. You mentioned a couple of trades that you were involved with this week. I just wanted to point out one that I took this week, which was the one and only. I added to Tesla. That's a weekly chart.
Brendan likes to catch falling swords.
Giving it to here.
Brendan will get stopped out.
Okay.
No, because I don't think you need to get out.
No, I'll buy it all the way down there.
But then, but are you getting out?
Of course. Yeah. That's my out.
Oh, that's your out?
Yeah.
Nah, hold it. I don't. Okay, so about that trade on Tesla, the reason why I say hold it is I just think there's so much garbage happening that's not underlying company specific.
Yeah.
With the Delaware, with Elon kind of getting off a bit, with Grok, obviously. No one's even talking about that anymore. I just think Twitter's still hanging over Tesla a little bit. Plus government incentives have kind of, I feel like the AI boom needs to happen there. And until he gets apparently 25%, I just think selling it, I feel like your strategy of never selling anything, I just don't know if I would apply. I just think Tesla has such a huge upside if everything works.
I agree. Here's
I don't know.
There might not be an answer to this, but here's an interesting point. It tested below 180 3 times this week.
Yeah, yeah.
Could not close below 180. There was a buyer there every single time. Could this even be the bottom?
Yeah, could be.
I mean, we don't know, obviously, but it
about Palantir? Anyway. I mean, a couple of trades that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks, I want to talk about quickly.
Sure.
Just because we're going to wrap this up. We got to go.
Yeah.
Ramin's got to go get some guacamole. She's like really jonesing for it. Probably not.
Never mind.
I am too. That's why. That's why I said that.
Hello.
I'm just trying to make it like project my. We talked about Palantir for a very, very long time. This is a 25-year-old.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
This is a 25-year. We wore the hat. This is a 25-year-old company that really found a base.
It's a great trade, man.
And I mean, it's been a great trade, and it continues to work. I'm not getting anything out. This is a name now that's turned profit again full year. We talked about that. Alex Karp has been really going for this. They're now into the consumer side of things and more into businesses rather than big business and government contracts and so on and so forth. They've really took this out. I'm really impressed with Palantir. I still think there's more to come, and that's why I was really distraught yesterday because of the short. Why would I short this thing? Broke through 25 and continued to go. I really like Palantir, and then I think the energy trade, and I said sort of under my breath about Oxy because this was a name that Neil's been talking about. I think this, again, if you come over to my chart, this is at some pretty key levels down here. This does have that bottom possibly for Warren to come in and keep. We're talking about Warren Buffett with Berkshire. They do own a big piece of this. A little nervous that energy's gone up 7% and Oxy really is still stuck under. This is one of those things where I would dump this stock if it breaks below this $55 area. I just am not impressed. I'm in XLE, and honestly, I'm starting to question myself. I don't think energy in this space is the future. So I want to just buy more Microsoft, buy more Google.
Earnings this week as well for OXY. So.
All right, a question I had for you, and I thought this was pretty fun because I wanted to do something like this. So right now we've really enjoyed like going to, it's been hockey season. This is like, you know, we've just become like a hockey family now because my daughter is pretty much insane about it. And I coached the rep baseball team, and I thought like that was really cool. And she was really liking it. And the other day she told my wife, she's like, I like baseball, but I think hockey is going to be my sport. You mentioned yourself, I know you were playing baseball, and you mentioned skiing as well. So that made me think, if there was one sport that you could be a professional player in, like as a career, I thought this was a very interesting question to ask you. And the reason why, if you could choose one sport, and forget about money, let's just pretend they were all paid equally.
Okay.
But you have to take in consideration.
See, that's a huge consideration.
No, but just
for pure enjoyment, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm saying like if you could be a professional athlete, take in consideration like if you're in the NBA, you're going to be banging up against, this is going to sound bad, but other dudes, and they're going to be all sweaty. It's not, I'm just saying basketball is great, but that's like you have to love playing it, is what I'm getting at. And just like, you know, it may be a professional, whatever, lacrosse player, I don't know, but I'm just saying, considering the environment you'd be in, the time of year it happens, all that kind of stuff. There we go. I just gave you about a couple minutes to think about it. I did that on purpose. So now I need your answer. I have mine.
Really?
Yeah.
That quick, huh?
No, because it's my question. I thought about the answer before.
Golf.
See? All right. I wrote down on here that you would be choosing between golf or an F1 driver.
Yeah. Here's why I didn't. Travel. The travel for an F1.
So fun though, you get to go to Dubai.
I mean, the other thing is there's 20 seats available in F1. Like the odds of that even.
There's no odds, baby. This is, you could be whatever you want to be, dude.
The travel's insane.
FYI, you're not being a professional golfer either.
No, obviously. Trust me.
Yeah, I've been out with this guy. Neither of us are maybe even making the CPGA.
The travel for that sport is insane. It's you're constantly traveling. Like 50 weeks out of 52 weeks in a year, you're traveling. It's crazy. So for that reason, you?
You know what? My choice was going to be baseball.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I love the sport.
It's not bad either.
I just love the fact that, and this is why I sort of said the seasons, because I knew golf would be one of your choices. I was like, you get to play in the wicked, wicked environments, right? Like if it's raining, you just don't.
Who cares?
It gets canceled. no, but it's like, oh, it's a huge bad weather. Like, okay, well, Brendan just stays in the clubhouse until it's shine. Yeah. No, but baseball, I just felt like, there's beautiful stadiums. You just bat once every 9 times. There's not so much individual pressure on you.
For me, it's also
it's such a fun game, baseball.
It's a notoriety thing. I feel like baseball, you would get more of a spotlight versus golf. I mean, the top, call it 10, 15, whatever.
Right.
Yes, absolutely they do. Everyone else, you could run into them on the street and not have a clue who it is.
All right, well, let us know in the chat or in the comments below. And by the way, I want everybody to review the podcast. We talked about that. That gets it spot out a little bit better.
Apple and Spotify specifically.
Let us know. Put some reviews in. Tell everybody this is the best thing you've ever heard or it's not. Whatever your opinion is. And also let us know what sport you would. We're probably missing some, like curling's probably definitely on people's minds.
You know what my second choice would have been?
This guy has no Super Bowl, nothing. Now this guy's coming out with all
skiing.
These. Yeah, that's why I said skiing. I mean, I knew
the only thing that tipped the scales was the weather.
Yeah, but it's so nice. Like you get down those and you get to the chalet at the end. Isn't there nothing better than having a nice cold drink after being on the hills, man?
Yeah. Who cares?
Who cares?
Let's wrap this up because we're getting.
That was a good question.
It was a great question, Sean.
Thank you, Brendan.
Well worded.
Man, it's hot in this damn studio, bro. What are we even doing? I thought, like, I asked for a Vision Pro last time. Now I'm asking for like a fan.
Air conditioner.
Can we get a fan around here, Brendan?
I tried, man.
Let's get that Beyonce look. Like I don't have any hair, but the fan would just come and be like, whoosh. You know how Beyonce said, it's like, whoosh, oh, my hoodie was blasting. It's so nice.
I need some strobe lights going on here. Let's wrap it up. One good thing.
Oh, man.
Go.
I forget what I was going to say.
I'll go. I actually started watching.
I did have something.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Do you remember that movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith?
I thought it was a movie.
Yeah, it was Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Right.
So
They're both
made a television
agents
show
or something?
Yeah, they made a television show, and they don't know that they're both.
Oh, I know what my one good thing is. Yeah, and it's on Netflix.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Ooh.
I'm two episodes in.
Oh.
It's a show. It's not a movie. It's a show.
Good. I like that better.
I was expecting it to be horrible. It's actually very well written. And I wanted to point this out as well. Donald Glover is in this show.
Ooh la la, I love that guy.
Danny Glover's son.
That's how you know him?
Yes, Ramin, that is not how I know him because we grew up with Lethal Weapon. Remember Lethal Weapon?
So Childish Gambino, all that stuff that means nothing.
No.
That's cool. No, I love that too. I mean, this guy's a great actor. He actually recently called Kanye West the best rapper of all time. Childish Gambino, AKA. Okay, my
still means nothing.
Right, Kanye West, who that?
Yeah.
You know Kanye West, he's dropping a new album. Not out yet, but he had a listening party yesterday. $30. How about that? That's pretty cool. You go to Yeezy.com, which I'm sure is probably your homepage. And then yesterday, yeah, exactly. He was streaming for a paltry $30 Canadian yesterday because I was like, I'm not doing this. You could have gone into the United Center, but this is what I'm talking about with the Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
And be a part of his release party where he dropped all of his new songs where he has his kid on one of them as well. Okay, my one good thing is, and my daughter's at one of these today, and I thought it was really cool because it got her super excited, themed birthday parties.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, because it's like a whodunit birthday party, so she's dressed up as a equestrian rider. So the wife went to Value Village, because where the hell else do you get old-ass equestrian riding
horse
pants?
Costumes?
Yeah, and she got like a cool hat. and she got the pants and like a white shirt. She looks like she's a rider. And there's going to be other, like someone's dressing up as a lawyer. They're 9 years old and 10 years old, 11 years old. And then it's like they got to get all these little things. And they got to act like that. Anyway, she's super jacked up about it. And I thought it was really cool because often you go to birthday parties, it's a pizza party, it's a movie, it's this or that. I thought this was super cool. Cost us more money because you got to go out and buy something so they can get dressed up. Right. But I thought it's a hell of a lot of fun. Thanks for the podcast. That was a lot of fun.
My wife is in the parking lot yelling at me right now, so I'm going to have to wrap this up. Ramin, I have seen Atlanta, by the way. It's also a great show.
Boom.
Well done.
Oh. Yeah. How come I'm always...
Episode 13. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave a comment, leave a review.
Was this our longest one?
See you all Monday.
Ciao.
Bye-bye. The first season of that show was great.